Move away from me!
You just struck me.
Sir, step back!
Ask her what happened.
Remove him. She hit him first. Everyone stay seated. Get him off this plane. Sir, explain why you're standing here.
This is my assigned seat.
He doesn't belong in first class.
Check both boarding passes.
Lower your voice. I haven't raised it. She's the one shouting. Stay out of this.
Read both records.
I need you to cooperate.
Verification is cooperation.
My status guarantees this seat. Status isn't a seat number.
Put that phone away. Take him off the aircraft. For what conduct? He threatened me.
That is false.
Sir, hands visible. They are visible. Check the video. We need the door closed.
You need the truth recorded.
You don't give orders here. He's pretending to call someone important. End the call now. Preserve the cabin footage. Give me the phone. Preserve the passenger manifest.
Sir, come with us. Let him finish.
Freeze the transfer.
What transfer? What did you just do? I protected the evidence. He's bluffing. Why does the screen say suspended? Who authorized that? The authorized signatory. Is that you? Answer the question. First answer mine. Why did no one check the seat record?
Who are you?
The same passenger you refuse to believe.
Open there.
Open that folder. Seal it first. Sir, please.
The slap cracked across first class, just as the cabin doors were about to close. A wealthy passenger pointed at the quiet black man beside her and demanded he be removed, while the crew asked him, not her, to explain himself. Why did no one check the seat record? Why did the man with the worn wedding ring refuse to raise his voice? And why, after one calm phone call, did a $5.8 billion airline deal suddenly freeze before takeoff? Everyone thought they were protecting an important customer. They had no idea whose dignity they had just gambled away. Stay to the end, because the truth would cost far more than one flight. Preserve the cabin footage, Marcus said, holding the phone to his ear as his silver wedding ring tapped once against its case. Freeze the transfer. Across the aisle, Lydia Harrow pressed 2 fingers to her cheek. You heard him. He's threatening the airline. I heard a financial instruction, Priya Desai said from row 2, her phone raised. Marin Holt stepped between them. The vents hissed above the silent cabin. Cold November air slipped through the open door. Sir, end the call and come with us. Marcus lowered the phone. Confirm that the cameras and passenger manifest are being preserved. Derek Sloan folded his arms at the galley entrance. You don't give orders here. I'm asking you not to erase evidence. Lydia pointed at Marcus. He grabbed me. He stopped you from pushing his bag, Priya said. You filmed me without permission. I started after you touched his property. Marin glanced at Priya's screen. Put the phone away. No. The answer left the cabin quieter than before. Calvin Ross entered with 2 security officers. His navy tie sat crooked as Derek spoke close to his ear. Disruptive passenger, Derek said. Possible assault complaint. That isn't what happened, Priya called. Calvin looked first at Lydia, then Marcus. Sir, stand and keep your hands visible. Marcus placed his phone face up on the armrest. Tessa's name remained beneath the ended call. They are visible. Then stand. He rose slowly. One passenger lowered his eyes. Another turned toward the Rain Street window. No one asked Lydia to move. My boarding pass is beneath the red folder, Marcus said. Seat 1A. The manifest will match it. Derek reached toward the folder. Marcus drew the worn leather satchel closer with his shoe. Don't touch those documents. There, Lydia said. That tone. Marcus faced her. You struck me. Because you came at me. Priya lifted her phone. The video shows otherwise. Calvin held out his hand. I'll take the recording. You'll receive a copy after it uploads. A thin progress bar crossed her screen. Marin checked the galley clock. We're 12 minutes past door close. Derek's voice hardened. Remove him. We can sort this downstairs. Marcus bent for his satchel. His fingers rested on the handle Evelyn had once carried on their first business trip. May I take my belongings? Calvin nodded. Not the folder, Derek said. It may be evidence. Then seal it in front of witnesses and write the time on the envelope. Derek stared at him. Who exactly do you think you are? Marcus picked up his phone. His ring struck the case again. Tap. Tap. The person you should have asked before choosing your version. Calvin gestured toward the door. Marcus stepped into the jet bridge without resisting. Cold touched his face, and the metal floor trembled beneath luggage carts. Behind him, the door mechanism began to rattle. Priya's screen flashed. Upload complete. Marcus's phone vibrated before he reached the end of the bridge. One message from Tessa filled the screen. Transfer suspended. Awaiting your next instruction. He looked back through the narrowing doorway as Derek lifted the red folder from seat 1A without sealing it.
At 6:12 a.m., Marcus turned the framed photograph face down, then turned it back. The kitchen was blue with early light. Rain tapped the windows, and bitter coffee scented the cold room. On the counter, his worn leather satchel waited beside a folder stamped Aurelia Air, Final Closing. Simone entered barefoot with 2 mugs. At 26, she had Evelyn's steady eyes and hid one hand inside her sleeve when tired. You're leaving already? The car comes at 6:30. You said breakfast. I'm here. You're standing. Marcus pulled out a chair. It scraped the tile. Simone set one mug before him, but kept the other. The scholarship dinner starts at 7, she said. Not 7:30, not whenever the signatures are done. I know. You knew last year, too. He folded the itinerary, aligning the edges. The closing is at noon. I'll be in Savannah before 5. And if they add another meeting? They won't.
Simone gave him the look that meant she had heard certainty before. The refrigerator hummed between them. Marcus lifted the photograph. Evelyn stood outside a community college, laughing into the wind. On the back, her handwriting had faded. Always choose the person, not the room. Mom wrote that after your first board fight, didn't she? Simone asked. After I skipped dinner to win it. And did you? The vote, yes. That wasn't my question. Marcus slipped the photograph into his satchel. Simone sat across from him. Tonight is the first scholarship in her name. The students think you're presenting it. I am. One took 3 buses to the interview, another works nights. They're not waiting for the CEO of Meridian North. No. They're waiting for the man who promised he understood being overlooked. His thumb moved over his wedding ring. The metal was cool. The doorbell sounded at 6:29. Simone's mouth tightened. Your car. Marcus looked through the window. A black sedan idled at the curb, exhaust whitening the rain. He picked up his coat, then stopped. Cancel it. She blinked. What? I'll take the airport shuttle. That wasn't the point. I know. He sent the cancellation. The headlights went dark. Simone turned her mug by the handle. You think arriving without an assistant proves something? No. It lets me see what our reports don't. You're testing the airline today? Quietly. And if they recognize you? They shouldn't. He wore a charcoal quarter zip, black trousers, and no watch. The red folder disappeared beneath a paperback and scarf inside the satchel. Simone stood and straightened his collar, as Evelyn once had. You always dress ordinary when you want people to tell the truth. They usually do. She stepped back. Then tell me one. Marcus met her eyes. I have missed too much. The answer changed her face, but not enough. Outside, shuttle brakes sighed at the corner. Marcus lifted the satchel. Simone opened the door, and damp air moved through the hallway. 7 o'clock, she said. 7. She did not hug him. She pushed the photograph deeper into the pocket so it would not bend. As Marcus walked toward the shuttle, his phone lit with a message from Aurelia Air. Aircraft substitution confirmed. Seat assignments may change. At 6:47 a.m., the airport shuttle shuddered away from Marcus's curb, its heater breathing dusty air against rain-fogged windows. He sat near the rear with the leather satchel between his shoes and watched the aircraft change message glow on his phone. A second message followed. Executive transport is waiting at Kingsbridge Airport. Marcus typed, "Cancel it." The reply came at once. "Sir, the board expects—" He locked the screen. By 7:31, the shuttle doors folded open beneath the terminal awning. Cold rain needled the pavement. A man in a coat stood beside a polished sedan holding a tablet with Marcus Reed across it. "Mr. Reed?" "Not today. The car is part of your arrival protocol." "Then today the protocol changes." Inside, the terminal smelled of wet wool, coffee, and floor cleaner. Wheels rattled over tile. A janitor steered a yellow cart around a family arguing near security. At gate 18, a red "delayed" notice flashed above the desk. A woman in an ivory suit stepped around the line. "I need this fixed, now." Evan Bell, 29, thin-framed glasses slipping down his nose, gave her the practiced smile of someone who had apologized too many times. "Ms. Harrow, the aircraft substitution changed several seats." "I booked 1A 6 weeks ago." "I'm checking." "You understood yesterday, too." Behind her, an older man raised a boarding pass. "We've been waiting 40 minutes. Lydia Harrow did not turn. Evan did, but Derek Sloan appeared from the side office first. 54 and broad-shouldered, he moved with the clipped impatience of a man who measured every problem in minutes.
"Mr. Bell, handle priority first," Derek said. The rest of the line missed 2 updates. "Make an announcement." Evan lowered his voice. "Her original seat was reassigned by the system." Derek glanced at Lydia's cream luggage and gold status tag. "Find something equivalent." Marcus stopped beside the charging station, close enough to hear, but far enough to be ignored. His phone vibrated. "Simone," he answered. "I'm at the gate." "You sound out of breath." "I walked from the shuttle." "The shuttle?" "I canceled the car." A pause. Dishes clinked behind her. 7 o'clock, she said. "I know. You said that this morning." The call ended before he could answer. At the desk, Evan scanned Marcus's boarding pass. His eyes shifted to the screen, then back to Marcus. "Mr. Reed, may I ask—" "No," Derek said behind him. Evan's hand froze above the keyboard. Derek leaned toward the monitor, saw the restricted service code beside Marcus's name, and straightened.
"We don't discuss internal notes with passengers." "I didn't ask you to," Marcus said. Lydia looked over. Her gaze moved from his quarter zip to the worn satchel. "Is he part of the delay?" "No, ma'am," Evan said. Derek tapped the counter. "Boarding begins in 8 minutes. Keep the line moving." Marcus watched Evan print a new pass. The young agent covered it with his palm before sliding it forward. "Seat 1A, Evan said quietly. "Keep this copy." "Why?" Evan glanced toward Derek's office. "Because the system may change again." Above them, the red delay light blinked. Once. Twice. Then Lydia's phone chimed, and she said, "Good, they've restored my seat." "That can't be right," Evan said. Lydia held up her phone. "My app says 1A." The gate clock read 7:43 a.m. Boarding had begun, and rain smeared the windows beyond the jet bridge. The scanner chirped as passengers pressed closer. Evan opened the seat map. "The replacement aircraft restored Mr. Reed's confirmed assignment. Yours is 1C. "I paid for the window." "So did he," Marcus said. Lydia turned. "I wasn't speaking to you."
Derek came from the side office. "What's the issue?" "Your employee is giving away my seat." Evan rotated the monitor. "Her record moved during the swap. Mr. Reed has 1A. Derek barely looked. "Seat her there. Put him across the aisle." Marcus set both boarding passes on the counter. "Compare the confirmation numbers." "We don't have time for a debate," Derek said. "It would take less time than moving me twice." The scanner beeped again. Someone behind Marcus sighed. Lydia smiled as if the sound belonged to her. "Everyone is waiting," she said. Evan swallowed. "Mr. Sloan, his ticket is valid." Derek lowered his voice. "You're 19 minutes from a reportable delay. Fix it." Marcus picked up his pass. "I'll board when the record is correct." "It is correct enough." The phrase stayed with Evan. He printed the seat history, folded it, and slipped it beneath the counter. Inside the aircraft, warm recycled air smelled faintly of citrus cleaner. Marcus found Lydia at the window, her coat across 1C and her handbag on 1A. Marin Holt stood in the galley checking her watch. "Sir, your seat is across the aisle." "My pass says 1A. "We adjusted the cabin for priority status." "Who authorized that?" Her smile tightened. "Please don't make this difficult." Marcus placed his pass on the armrest. Lydia laid hers beside it. 2 white rectangles, 1 window seat. "Read both," he said. Marin scanned his and handed it back without touching Lydia's. "You checked only mine." "I know Ms. Harrow's status." "That isn't the same as knowing her seat." A man in row 2 lowered his newspaper. The woman beside him removed one earbud. Neither spoke. Lydia tapped the window shade. "I have a meeting in Savannah. Some of us cannot afford delays." Marcus pictured Simone beside an empty chair beneath Evelyn's name. "I have somewhere to be too." "Then sit down." He lifted Lydia's handbag from 1A and placed it carefully on 1C. She rose so quickly her perfume cut through the cabin air. "Don't touch my things." "You left them in my seat." Marin stepped between them. "Move across the aisle, now, or I'll call operations." "Call them. Ask for the seat change log." Her radio crackled. Derek's voice came through. "Close the door in 4 minutes." Marin pressed transmit. "We have a passenger refusing crew direction." Marcus looked at Lydia's untouched boarding pass. "I'm asking you to verify a number." "And I'm asking you to comply." A luggage bin slammed shut overhead. The man with the newspaper folded it and stared at his shoes. Marcus sat in 1A. Lydia laughed once. "You think a printed slip makes you important?" "No," he said. "It makes the seat mine." Marin's watch beeped. Then Derek stepped aboard, saw Lydia standing, and looked at Marcus instead of the 2 boarding passes between them. Derek's shoes stopped beside the first row. "Mr. Reed, take 1C so we can close the door." Marcus pointed to the boarding passes. "Which one assigns 1A?" Derek did not look down. "This is an operational decision." "Based on what?" "Keeping the flight moving." Lydia folded her arms. "Finally!" Marin blocked the aisle. Behind Marcus, seatbelts clicked, vents whispered, and rain ticked against the windows. "Your records already show the answer," Marcus said. Derek's jaw tightened. "Cooperate or leave the aircraft?" A murmur moved through the cabin. The man with the newspaper opened it again without reading. Across the aisle, Priya Desai, 34, a transportation safety engineer, watched over her glasses. Marcus opened his satchel and removed the red folder. "This concerns Aurelia Air. Read the cover page." Derek glanced at the title. "A corporate packet doesn't give you authority over my gate." "I didn't say it did."
Then put it away. Marcus held it out. Derek pushed it back, unopened. The stiff edge caught against the zipper. Lydia leaned toward Marin. He's trying to intimidate you with paperwork. Marin checked the clock. We are 17 minutes late. Priya spoke from row 2. You could resolve this by checking both tickets. Derek turned. Ma'am, this doesn't involve you. It involves everyone you're delaying. Lydia's smile thinned. Some people enjoy inserting themselves. Some people count on no one doing it, Priya said. The scanner chirped as Evan boarded with a printout. His glasses had fogged. Mr. Sloan, the seat history confirms. Derek took the paper before he finished. His eyes crossed the first line. Then he folded it. Return to the gate. Evan stayed. It confirms Mr. Reed in 1A. Marin looked at Derek. Lydia looked at Marcus. Thank you, Marcus said. Derek slipped the printout into his jacket. The cabin assignment remains at crew discretion. For a safety reason? Marcus asked. For operational efficiency. You are removing the valid passenger because the invalid passenger objects. I am removing the passenger refusing instruction. The distinction settled over the cabin. Priya reached for her phone but left it face down. Marcus closed the folder. Document that wording exactly. Derek stepped closer. You don't tell me how to write my report. No, I'm asking you not to change it later. Marin raised her radio. Do you want security? Yes. Evan's face lost color. Sir, that's not necessary. Back to the desk. Evan glanced at Marcus, then at the folded seat history inside Derek's jacket, and turned toward the open door. Marcus slid the folder into his satchel. The zipper caught on one corner. He freed it and set the bag between his shoes. Lydia lowered herself into 1C. This could have been simple. It still could be, Marcus said. Move then. No. Marin spoke into the radio. We need assistance at the aircraft door. Passenger is non-compliant. Priya turned her phone over and opened the camera. Derek saw the movement. No recording. She pressed the red button. Then give us a version that doesn't need hiding. Heavy footsteps began moving down the jet bridge. The footsteps stopped at the aircraft door. Calvin Ross entered first, his navy tie crooked in a jacket. 2 officers waited in the jet bridge, where cold air pushed into the cabin. Who is refusing to comply? He asked. Derek pointed at Marcus. Seat dispute. He ignored crew instructions and became confrontational. Priya kept her phone raised. That is not what happened. Calvin noticed the red recording light. Ma'am, lower the device. No. Lydia turned toward him. He touched my property and blocked the aisle. Marcus stood beside 1A. Her bag was in my assigned seat. I moved it to 1C. You grabbed it, Lydia said. I placed it 1 seat away. Marin's radio crackled. We need the cabin cleared. Calvin held out his hand. Boarding pass. Marcus gave it to him. Calvin read 1A, then faced Lydia. Yours? She angled her phone away. The airline confirmed my status. That wasn't the question, Priya said. Derek stepped closer. Security doesn't need to retry the seating issue. He refused a direct order. Marcus's wedding ring tapped the armrest. Once. Ask why the order was given. Because you delayed the flight. The delay began when you refused to compare 2 records. A man near the window murmured, He's right. Then lowered his eyes when Marin turned. Lydia nudged Marcus's satchel with her shoe. Move this filthy thing. Marcus caught the handle before it slid into the aisle. Do not touch my bag. She rose. Don't tell me what to do. Then stop touching my property. For one suspended second, only the ventilation hiss remained. Rain streamed down the windows. Priya kept recording. Lydia slapped him. The sound cracked through first class. Marcus did not step back. A red mark appeared across his cheek. His hand stayed on the satchel handle. Marin drew in a breath. One officer shifted. No one spoke. Then Lydia pressed 2 fingers to her own face. "He came at me." Priya broke the silence. "No, he didn't." Derek turned to Marcus. "Step away from her." "You saw what happened," Marcus said. "I saw an escalating passenger." "You saw her strike him," Evan said from the galley. Derek spun around. "Why are you still here?" "Because the record matters." Calvin looked at Priya's phone. "You captured that?" "Yes." "Give me the device." "I'll send a copy after it uploads." Lydia moved toward 1C. "She's violating my privacy." "You were in a cabin full of witnesses," Priya said. Marin leaned toward Derek. "We can remove her." "That creates a formal incident." "There is already an incident." Derek checked the clock, then lowered his voice. "One passenger leaves. I'm choosing the one who won't affect our premium metrics." Marcus heard him. "So, that is the reason." "The reason is non-compliance." Marcus lifted the red folder. "Preserve the cameras, the manifest, the seat change log, and every version of your report." Calvin stepped forward. "Sir, come with us." Priya's screen showed 4% remaining. Marcus looked at the silent rows. "Will anyone state what they saw?" The man with the newspaper folded it slowly. "I will." A woman across the aisle raised her hand. "So will I." The progress bar reached 99% as Calvin gestured toward the open door. "I will," the man with the newspaper said again. Calvin glanced at him. "You can give statements downstairs." Derek blocked the door. "We are removing one passenger, not holding a hearing." Priya's phone chimed. "Upload complete." She lowered it. "Now there's a record outside this aircraft." Lydia snapped. "Are we leaving or not?" Marcus slid the red folder toward his satchel. "May I take my belongings?" Calvin nodded. "Not the folder," Derek said. "It may be relevant." "Then seal it here. Mark the time and have 2 witnesses sign." "You don't set procedure." "No, I'm asking you to follow one." The man in row 2 stood. "I'll witness it." "So will I," Priya said. Derek took an evidence envelope, saw the folder would not fit, and dropped it on seat 1A. "We'll inventory it downstairs." "Not out of my sight." "Sir," Calvin said, "come with us before this becomes a refusal." Marcus lifted his satchel, leaving the folder behind. "Record that I objected." Marin looked at him. "Mr. Reed." It was the first time she had used his name. Her mouth opened, then closed when Derek checked his watch. Marcus stepped into the jet bridge. Cold air touched his cheek. The metal floor trembled beneath a luggage cart. Priya called. "I'm emailing you the file." "No passenger information leaves this cabin," Derek said. "It already did." At the terminal door, Marcus looked back. Evan held the original seat history. He folded it once and slipped it inside his shirt. The cabin door started to close. "My documents," Marcus said. Derek lifted the red folder from 1A without an envelope or time mark. Then the door sealed between them. Calvin led Marcus into a small interview room. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The table was cold, the air smelled of toner, and a camera dome watched from the ceiling. "Sit, please." Marcus remained standing. "Am I detained?" "You're being held while we document the disturbance." "For what conduct?" "Refusal to follow crew direction." "Not for striking a passenger." Calvin loosened his tie. I did not say that. You didn't need to. A printer whirred outside. Calvin returned with a page. Passenger became aggressive after being asked to vacate an incorrectly occupied seat. Marcus read, "Every material fact here is false." That is Derek's account. And yours? Calvin looked toward the frosted window. Marcus's phone vibrated. Simone had sent a photograph from the scholarship hall. Rows of chairs faced Evelyn's name. One beside Simone remained empty. They're asking where you are. Marcus pressed call. 4 rings. Voicemail. Simone, I'm sorry. I'm trying to... The tone ended his message. Calvin pushed the form closer. Sign to acknowledge receipt. Marcus folded his hands. His wedding ring clicked against the metal table. I'll sign when the account is accurate. Outside, an engine deepened to a low roar. Through the frosted glass, the aircraft moved away from the gate. Calvin watched it go. Marcus did not. His phone lit with Tessa's message. Transfer suspended. Board requesting explanation. Should I disclose your identity? Marcus typed, no. A second message arrived from an unknown number. This is Evan Bell. I saved the original manifest before they changed it. The second page slid from Calvin's printer at 8:26 a.m. Marcus read the sentence twice. Passenger attempted to intimidate airline personnel with confidential business documents. That was added. Calvin stayed by the door. Derek submitted an updated account. After the aircraft left. Yes. Marcus placed it beside the first report. A wet ring from Calvin's paper cup touched the unsigned line. Where is my folder? Operations has it. Unsealed. Calvin rubbed his crooked tie. I saw that. And let him take it. I was trying to keep control. For whom? Calvin looked toward the camera and said nothing. Marcus's phone showed 3 missed calls from Simone. He pressed her name. It rang until voicemail answered. I'm still at the airport, he said. I should have called sooner. I know what tonight meant. A baggage belt ground behind the wall. I'm sorry. The message ended. A new recording appeared. Simone's voice was quiet, with applause behind it. You always say the work protects people, but every time I need you, the work gets the chair beside me. Marcus replayed it once. His fingers slipped on the brass clasp of his satchel. On the second try, he opened it and removed Evelyn's photograph. Her coat lifted in the wind outside the old college building. On the back, the faded line remained. Always choose the person, not the room. Calvin glanced at it. Your wife? Was. I'm sorry. Don't apologize for something you didn't do. What if you refuse to sign? You document the refusal. And if the airline bans you? They can try. You don't seem worried. I'm worried about the wrong thing. Tessa Ward called. I froze the transfer, she said. Keyboards clicked behind her. The receiving bank wants a reason. Aurelia's board wants your identity disclosed. Not yet. Marcus, they removed the lead signatory from their own aircraft. They removed a passenger. Let them investigate that first. If they learn who you are now, every apology will be contaminated. Exactly. Tessa exhaled. I'm sending a preservation notice for the cameras, manifest, seat history, crew messages, and every report version. Include the red folder. Derek Sloan took it without sealing it. I'll name him. Name the action. A beat passed. Understood. Priya Desai sent the video to the address on your card, Tessa continued. It shows the slap.
Evan Bell saved the original manifest. Protect both of them. I will. What about Simone? Marcus looked at the photograph of the empty chair beside her. I don't know how. After the call, Calvin placed a new form on the table. This one left the incident description blank. You can write your own account. Marcus pushed the pen back. First, bring me a receipt from my folder. Calvin opened the door. I'll see what I can do. The room seemed smaller after he left.
Fluorescent light flattened Evelyn's face. Marcus turned the photograph over and typed to Simone, "You were right." Delivered appeared beneath it, but not read. Outside the frosted glass, Derek's voice rose. "Delete the earlier report. We're using the corrected version." Marcus reached for his phone and pressed record. Derek's voice sharpened beyond the frosted glass. "Delete the earlier report. We're using the corrected version." Marcus held his phone near the table. The timer climbed past 12 seconds. Calvin answered, lower. The first version is already printed. Then shred it. A cart rattled down the corridor. Marcus stopped recording when Calvin opened the door with a property receipt. Your folder is listed as retained by operations, Calvin said. Sealed? No. Marcus photographed the page. Add the time you saw Derek take it. I can't amend his chain of custody. You can document your own. Calvin wrote 8:31 a.m. beneath his signature. Marcus's phone vibrated. Priya had sent a link, original file unedited. A gray bar crawled across the screen. Who is she? Calvin asked. A witness. Derek says she disrupted the crew. That is what people write when a witness refuses to disappear. At gate 18, Evan watched the board change to departed. Burnt coffee hung in the air. He hid the original manifest beneath baggage forms as Derek approached. Open the seat record. Evan entered the reservation. Seat 1A now showed Lydia Harrow. Marcus's assignment was gone. Print that, Derek said. Delete your local cache. There isn't one. Derek left with the page. Evan waited for the office door to shut, then removed a small drive from his pocket. It held the original manifest, the reassignment history, and Derek's message. Protect premium metric. Move the easier passenger. He emailed everything to Tessa Ward. By 8:44, Tessa's preservation notice reached Aurelia Air's counsel and board chair. An associate covered the receiver. The receiving bank says the funding gate is locked. Keep it locked. Aurelia wants to know who authorized the stop. They know who can. Should I give them Marcus's name? No. Demand the original files. Priya's upload reached 97%, paused, then completed. Tessa watched the final minute. When Lydia's hand moved and the cabin fell still, the associate turned away. Send this to Helena Park only, Tessa said. Not management? Not yet. Helena reads before she reacts. In the interview room, Calvin's radio crackled. Ross, hold Reed until operations clears the ban notice. Marcus looked up. They're banning me before taking my statement? Calvin pressed the button. On what basis? Derek replied, Crew safety. Priya's video finished downloading. Marcus turned the phone toward Calvin. Watch. Calvin saw Lydia rise, the slap, Derek checking the clock, and his own entrance. His hand dropped from the radio. I was told you threatened her. You were told which person was convenient. Calvin pushed the unsigned report aside. I'm not approving the ban. That won't stop Derek. No. He opened the door. But it will put my name against his. Marcus slid Evelyn's photograph into his satchel
and followed him into the corridor. Across town, a red warning appeared on Aurelia Air's closing dashboard. $5.8 billion transfer suspended by authorized signatory. Nolan Price stared at it. Find out who pulled it. The general counsel listened, then looked toward Helena Park's empty chair. She's already on her way to the airport, she said. At 9:03 a.m., Helena Park entered the corridor alone. 61, silver-haired, in a dark wool coat beaded with rain, she carried only reading glasses. Nolan Price followed. Helena, we can resolve this privately. She stopped beside the interview room door. You tried that before learning who he was. Tessa Ward approached. The red folder is still in operations custody. Unsealed, Marcus said. Helena's gaze paused at the mark on his cheek, then at the worn satchel. Mr. Reed, I'm Helena Park. I know. I wish we had met at the closing. So do I. Derek came from the gate office with the red folder against his chest. This was retained after a security incident? Tessa extended her hand. Give it to its owner. It may contain evidence. Then why was it never sealed? The corridor smelled of wet coats and burnt coffee. A printer began another page. Derek handed the folder to Helena. She opened it on the nearest counter. Financing schedules, regulatory conditions, and a $5.8 billion transfer filled the first pages. Marin stood near the galley door, arms folded tightly. Lydia had been brought back from the arrival lounge and watched in silence. Helena reached the final page. The paper settled with a soft whisper. Lead authorized signatory, she read. Marcus Reed, founder and chief executive officer, Meridian North Capital. Derek looked at Marcus as if the charcoal sweater had changed color. Lydia's lips parted. That's him? Marcus adjusted his satchel strap. It was me before you knew. Marin lowered her eyes. Nolan stepped forward. Marcus, this is a catastrophic misunderstanding. No. A misunderstanding ends when records are checked. We can apologize. You can preserve the evidence. The funding suspension affects thousands of employees. So did the decisions that made it necessary. Helena closed the folder slowly. Is the transfer frozen? Tessa nodded. By his instruction at 8:18. Helena faced Marcus. What do you want done? Derek inhaled, perhaps expecting a demand. Marcus looked through the glass toward the empty gate. Rainwater crawled down the panes. Take statements from every witness. Secure every report version. Protect the employee who saved the original manifest.
Do not order apologies before anyone understands what they did.
And the deal? Helena asked. Remains frozen. Lydia found her voice. You're risking billions over a seat. Marcus turned to her. No. Over how quickly everyone decided whose word counted. She looked away. Calvin placed both printed reports on the counter. There are two versions. The second was created after departure. Evan appeared at the corridor entrance, breathing hard, a folded page in his hand. There's also a message from operations telling me to move the easier passenger. Derek's face tightened. That is internal context. Helena held out her hand. Then I need it. Evan gave her the page. Nolan whispered, Think carefully. I am. Helena removed her coat, folded it over a chair, and looked at Tessa. Call an independent investigator. No one in this corridor edits another word. Beneath Marcus's signature, the final line of the agreement waited blank. Funds released upon satisfaction of all conditions. At 9:41 a.m., Lena Ortiz placed 2 laptops side by side in the airport conference room. "Nothing leaves this table," she said. She was 43, compact, carrying a black notebook. Rain clicked against the glass. The room smelled of damp wool and burnt coffee. Helena sat at one end. Marcus chose the chair nearest the door. Nolan, Derek, Marin, Calvin, Evan, Tessa, and Priya filled the others. Lena opened Priya's video. "This material may be privileged," Nolan said. "It was recorded by a passenger," Lena replied. "Your privilege does not begin where her camera did." The video showed Lydia beside 1A. "Pause," Marcus said. "Time?" Evan asked. 7:58:14. He unfolded the original seat history. "The reassignment request was entered at 7:56. Derek leaned forward. "That proves we were handling the dispute." "No," Evan said.
It proves the request came after Mr. Reed was seated. A cursor blinked between 2 timestamps. 7:56:03, 8:04:19. The second belonged to Derek's first report, which claimed Marcus had occupied the wrong seat before boarding ended. Lena tapped the table. "Why does your report describe an event 8 minutes before your system shows it happened?" "The system clock may be off." "Gate, cabin, and camera clocks sync every hour," Evan said. "Then someone entered it late." "You entered it," Tessa said. Derek's chair creaked. Lena played the next segment. Marin's voice came through the speakers. "Please don't make this difficult." She stopped it. "Miss Holt, what did he ask you to do?" Marin stared at her glass. "Compare the boarding passes." "Did you?" "I scanned his." "Both?" "No." "Why?" Marin rubbed her sleeve. "We were already late." "That is not the full answer." The ventilation hummed. Outside, a baggage cart beeped in reverse. Marin looked at Derek. "Lydia Harrow was a premium retention client. We were told not to create friction." "By whom?" Derek said. "That is a broad service guideline." "Did you tell her to move Mr. Reed because he would be easier?" "I told the team to resolve the cabin." Evans slid a printed message across the table. "Protect premium metric. Move the easier passenger." Lena read it aloud. Marcus's ring touched the armrest with a soft click. She resumed the footage. The slap sounded smaller through laptop speakers, almost ordinary. Calvin lowered his eyes. Helena did not move. "Pause," Marin whispered. Lena did. Marin faced Marcus. "I saw it." He said nothing. "I saw her strike you, and I still looked at the clock." Nolan shifted. "Marin, do not speculate about motive." "She is describing a choice," Helena said. Lena opened the corridor footage. Derek appeared, taking the red folder from 1A at 8:12. His inventory listed 8:27. 15 missing minutes. Tessa leaned closer. "What happened during that gap?" "I carried it to operations," Derek said. "Without sealing it," Calvin replied. "Did you open it?" Lena asked. "No." "Did anyone?" "No." The cursor blinked beside a recovered access log. Helena read the name first. "Nolan Price." Nolan's hand froze above his coffee. His executive credentials had opened the operations document room at 8:19 a.m., 8 minutes before the folder was officially recorded as received. Nolan's hand remained above the coffee cup. Lena turned the laptop toward him. "Your credentials opened the document room at 8:19. "I was identifying what froze the transfer." "You said you didn't know who authorized it until after 9, Helena replied. "I saw a financing folder, and checked whether it was connected. By opening property taken from a passenger? Tessa asked. We had a closing at risk. Ms. Harrow, Lena said, describe the moment before you struck Mr. Reed. Lydia straightened. He moved toward me. I believed I had to protect myself. Priya slid her phone forward. Play it from 10 seconds earlier. The video filled the wall screen. Lydia's shoe touched the satchel. Marcus caught the handle. His voice came through. Do not touch my bag. Lydia stood and raised her hand. Lena froze the image. Marcus had not moved from beside 1A. Rain whispered against the windows. That angle is misleading, Lydia said. There are 3 angles, Lena replied. Cabin, jet bridge, and Ms. Desai's recording. I felt threatened. By what action? Lydia reached for her water. The glass clicked against her ring. Marin spoke without lifting her eyes. He did not threaten her. Nolan turned. Be precise. I am. He asked us to compare the tickets. I knew we should. But Ms. Harrow's profile was flagged for retention, and I thought he would be easier to remove. Marcus looked at her. Because I was calmer? Because you had no assistant, no visible status marker, and because Derek wanted the door closed. Derek pushed back his chair. You made your own decision. I followed the pressure you created. Helena removed her glasses. Both can be true. At 11:18 a.m., Nolan requested a recess. 10 minutes later, he returned with a gray folder and placed it before Marcus. A black pen crossed the unsigned line. This includes compensation, lifetime travel privileges, and confidentiality, Nolan said. No admission of liability. Tessa left it untouched. How much? Enough to acknowledge the seriousness. Marcus opened it. Fresh toner sharpened the air. One clause prohibited him, Simone, and the Evelyn Reed Foundation from discussing the incident. My daughter's name is in this. Standard protection against indirect disclosure. She watched the video this morning. Then protecting her from attention may be best. Marcus folded the agreement once and slid it beneath the pen. You are offering money to control what she is allowed to remember. That is not what this does. It is exactly what it does. Nolan leaned forward. Thousands of jobs depend on this transaction. We can correct the personnel issue without destroying the company. I have not asked you to destroy anything. Then release the funds. Not while your first instinct is to purchase silence. Helena looked at Nolan. Did counsel approve naming his daughter? He did not answer. Lena reopened her notebook. The hearing resumes. This offer enters the evidence file. The pen remained across the blank signature line. Tessa's phone vibrated. She turned the screen toward Marcus. 3 earlier passenger complaints had been recovered from an archive Derek claimed did not exist. Tessa enlarged the archive list on the wall. 3 complaints, she said. Same gate, same supervisor, same phrase. Operational efficiency. Derek's face tightened. Those were resolved. Closed without interviews, Lena replied. 2 passengers were removed after premium customers objected. 1 employee wrote that you ordered the easier person moved. Helena turned to Nolan. When did you first see these? Last spring. Lena opened an email chain. Nolan's name appeared above a reply sent 6 months earlier. Avoid escalation. Protect departure metrics. Handle locally. Rain tapped the glass. You knew, Helena said. I knew there were service complaints, not this pattern. You knew enough to tell them not to look. Nolan rubbed his face. I was protecting the company. Marcus spoke quietly. From the people paying to enter it?
No one answered. By noon, Lena had traced the altered report to Derek's credentials, the deleted seat record to his terminal, and the buried complaints to a private folder shared with Nolan. Calvin submitted his statement. Evan signed beneath it. Priya provided the original video hash. Derek stood when Helena announced the decision. "You are terminated, effective immediately." This company rewarded those numbers. "It rewarded results," Helena replied. "You hid the cost." Security collected his badge. Derek held it 1 second too long, thumb pressed over his photograph, then set it down. Nolan's resignation followed 23 minutes later. He tried to call it temporary leave. Helena slid the letter back. "Use the correct word." He signed again. Marin was removed from supervisory duty pending retraining and a review of every passenger removal she had approved. She accepted the notice with both hands. "I should have looked at both passes," she said. Marcus watched rain bead on the window. "You should have looked at both people." Lydia's attorney arrived after lunch. Lydia accepted responsibility for striking Marcus and for making a false accusation. Her voice was smaller without the cabin around her. "I believed they would believe me."
They did, Priya said. Lydia lowered her eyes. 2 days later, an envelope reached Marcus's office. Heavy cream paper. No logo. Inside was a handwritten apology from Lydia. 3 pages naming every moment she had tried to excuse. Marcus read it alone beside Evelyn's photograph. At the end, Lydia had written, "I am sorry I needed your title before I believed your dignity." He folded the letter once, then again. He did not sign a response or send it to the press. Simone found it on his desk that evening. "Is that from her?" "Yes." "Do you forgive her?" Marcus placed the folded pages beside the photograph. "Forgiveness is not the same as pretending the cost disappeared." Simone touched the envelope, but did not open it. Tessa entered with a revised financing memo. "The board accepted every personnel finding. They want to know what releases the funds." Marcus looked at the empty signature line, then at Lydia's folded apology. "Not another apology," he said. A rule that works before anyone knows who the passenger is. Tessa opened her notebook. Across town, the first draft of a new protocol waited for a name. "No name yet," Tessa said, uncapping her pen. Marcus stood at the conference room window while afternoon light crossed the wet runway. "It already has one." He placed Evelyn's photograph beside the draft. Her faded handwriting showed through the paper. "Always choose the person, not the room." "Human first protocol," he said. 3 days later, Helena convened the board. Ada Monroe sat across from Marcus, 52, a passenger rights advocate with silver curls who turned every page fully before speaking. "This draft still lets operations investigate itself," Ada said. "The board added quarterly review," Helena replied. "By people appointed by the same executives being reviewed." Tessa slid forward a revision.
Then the ombudsman gets independent authority, direct access to recordings, and protection from removal without a public board vote. A finance director cleared his throat. "Every delay will cost money." Marcus looked at him. So did the old system. It just charged the wrong people. They worked through the afternoon. Any removal from a premium cabin would require verification of both passenger records, a written safety basis, and approval from outside the departure metric chain. Gate and cabin footage would be preserved when a complaint was filed. Employees could report pressure through a channel bypassing local management. Helena pointed to the assistance section. "Travel, lodging, and legal help for passengers removed in error." "Within 2 hours," Ada said. "Not after a review." "That invites abuse," the finance director replied. So does unchecked discretion, Marcus said. At 4:16 p.m., Tessa placed the amendment before him. The transfer would resume only after the Ombudsman's office was funded, the preservation system activated, and the first training completed. The board accepts, Helena said. Not yet. Everyone paused. Marin sat near the wall without her supervisory pin, both hands around a paper cup. What would have stopped you that morning? Marcus asked. Permission to delay the door without being punished. Ada wrote it down. And? A second person required to check the decision. Marcus nodded. Add both. The finance director exhaled, but Helena said, Add them. At sunset, the revised pages returned. Marcus read each line and reached the signature page. Beside the funding clause, a new heading appeared. Human First Protocol. His ring touched the table before the pen did. Once you sign, the transfer resumes in stages, Tessa said. And if the conditions fail? It freezes automatically. Marcus signed. No one applauded. Ada placed the first certified copy in a plain black folder. I need staff by Monday. You'll have them, Helena replied. Marcus slipped Evelyn's photograph back into his satchel. The rain had stopped, leaving the runway bright under amber lights. At the door, Simone called. I heard the deal is moving again. It is. Did they name the reform after you? No. A quiet breath came through the phone. Good. There's a ceremony in 6 months, Marcus said. I know. I'll be early. Simone did not answer at once. Then she said, I'll save you a seat. Behind him, Ada opened the folder and circled the first implementation deadline. 6 months later, Marcus arrived at the Evelyn Reed Foundation Hall at 5:38 p.m., 82 minutes early. Warm light rested on rows of blue chairs. Marcus placed a booklet on each seat, turning every cover square with the aisle. The title read, Human First Protocol, First Public Report. Simone entered carrying name cards. You beat the volunteers. I said I would be early. You've said that before. I know. She watched him straighten the chair beside hers. For a moment, neither touched it. Derek Sloan had lost his position and airport credentials. Nolan Price had resigned after the board published the buried complaints. Marin Holt had completed retraining and returned as a non-supervisory crew member under review. Lydia Harrow had accepted civil responsibility and stopped contesting Priya's video. Marcus had asked that none of their names appear in the ceremony speech. At 6:10, Evan Bell arrived wearing a new operations badge. He now trained gate agents on record preservation and passenger removal checks. Priya followed, using the same phone to photograph the scholarship display. Ada Monroe approached Marcus with the first quarterly report. 43 disputed removals reviewed, she said. 11 reversed before departure. 6 passengers received immediate assistance. No local manager could delete a complaint. And the reporting channel? Used by 92 employees. Retaliation? 2 attempts, both stopped. He handed the report back. Publish all of it. Even the failures? Especially those. At 7, Simone stepped to the lectern. The room quieted beneath Evelyn's photograph. My mother believed institutions reveal themselves in ordinary moments, she said. Tonight's scholarship goes to people who kept showing up when no one important was watching. Simone looked toward Marcus. The first award will be presented by the man who finally learned that being present is also a promise. He did not move until she touched the empty chair beside her. Dad. He walked forward. The recipient, nursing student Alana Pierce, shook his hand with both of hers. "I almost missed the interview because my bus broke down." Marcus gave her the envelope. "But you came." "So did you." The words stopped him for half a breath. After the applause, Simone found him holding Evelyn's old photograph, now protected by clear glass. "I had it reframed." Marcus turned it over. The faded sentence remained visible. "Always choose the person, not the room." "I thought you might want it in your office." He looked at the chair beside hers, no longer empty. "Keep it here." Outside, rain began softly against the windows, the same sound that had followed him through the airport months earlier. This time, no clock pushed him toward a closing door. Simone slipped her arm through his. "Are you staying for dinner?" "Yes." "No calls?" Marcus silenced his phone and placed it face down. Across the hall, Evan showed Ada an alert confirming that a passenger removal had been paused until both records were checked. Marin, working the flight, had requested the review herself. Ada nodded once. Marcus saw it, but said nothing. Simone guided him toward the occupied table beneath Evelyn's name. His silver ring touched the edge of the photograph as he passed. The chair was waiting, and this time he sat down. Have you ever seen someone judged before the facts were checked? Or watched a quiet person stand firm while everyone else chose the easier story? Share your experience in the comments, especially if one witness, document, or small act of courage changed what happened next. Pass this story to someone who believes dignity should never depend on status, clothing, wealth, or influence. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, and the system-wide changes that begin when ordinary people refuse to look away. And remember Marcus's empty chair. Accountability matters, but so does showing up for the people who waited for us while we were fighting to be heard.